entering the Urban Suite. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about urban issues plaguing our community with Dr. Lisa LaCON. Let's talk about urban issues plaguing our community with Dr. Lisa LaCON. mental health. Hello. Good night, my urbanites. How are you all doing tonight? Oh my goodness, I missed you guys. I wasn't here last week. I had to take a little break. There was so much going on and so much happening, but I am here. I am Dr. Lisa LaCON, and welcome to the Urban Suite. You have entered into the Urban Suite, you guys. Welcome. Hello. So listen, we are sponsored by Bless Ministries Incorporated. The Urban Suite is sponsored by Bless Ministries Incorporated. We are the premier workforce development agency in the state of New Jersey. And we work with various populations to get them employed, you guys. We work with those under the supervision of parole. We work with adults with disabilities. We work with youth with disabilities, like teens with disabilities. We work with those impacted by opioids in the state of New Jersey, as well as those that are receiving like food stamps and things of that nature. We do put people to work. That's who we are. And again, I am Dr. Lisa LaCON. So I need you to like, I need you to share, and I need you to hit the subscribe button so that when I come on live, you will be notified when I come on. And remember, I told you 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago. I told you 2 weeks ago that I'm going to do something a bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight someone that is missing. So I definitely need you to share. Even if you don't watch the entire video, I need you to share, okay? And then tonight, we're also sponsored by Got It Today, the e-commerce company selling everything from Marvelous Water to Zoe pads and everything in between. And for Blessed Ministries, if you need more information about Blessed Ministries, you can go to their website at www.bmiworks.org. That's www.bmiworks.org. And for Got It Today, you can go to www.gotit2day.com. That's www.gotit2day.com. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of tonight. We are talking about grief and the 5 stages of grief. But before I get into that, I want to share something with you tonight. This young gentleman, his name is Jelani Day. Jelani Day was actually found. He was missing for several weeks, but he has been since located. They found his body, unfortunately, in a river. And this is according to the Chicago Sun-Times. The family's private forensic pathologist could find no brain, according to his mother and her attorney, which is Miss Belzner. Belzner said the LaSalle County coroner had explained that, according to the pathology report, the organs were completely liquefied. We're talking about Jelani Day. His genitalia were unidentifiable, according to the private forensic pathologist report, but determined to be flayed. That means skinned back, according to the county coroner's forensic pathologist. Belzner said she continues to investigate to seek plausible, perhaps scientific explanations as to what happened with Jelani Day. So his parents did have a funeral for him. And this really coincides with tonight's topic about grief and loss and the 5 stages of grief. And we're going to talk about that. So this is really terrible because also they said that his jaw was sawed out. His jawbone had been sawed out. I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine as a parent witnessing and seeing this for my child. The next person is Sarai Jordan. I need you all to share this information. Have you seen Sarai Jordan? Very important. It costs you nothing to share this information. She's also known as Ray. She's missing from Brooklyn, New York. She was last seen on September 28th, 2021 at 8:30 a.m. She's African American. She's 13 years old. Her hair color is black and brown with long braids. She's 5'4", 175 pounds. Her eyes are dark brown. Sarai was last seen on Flatlands Avenue and Linwood Street. She was last seen wearing a red zip-up sweater, black shorts, black sneakers with white soles, and transparent eyeglasses, the glasses that you see right there, carrying a beige 9 West tote bag. Have you seen her? For more information, or if you have information, you can call. You can call 911, or there's a number at the bottom of the screen where you can call. You can call Shanez, which is her mother, and her mother's telephone number is 917-295-6525, or you can call Deshara, which is her cousin. Her cousin's number is area code 929-421-2331. And there is the information at the ticker at the bottom. Call 911 or call her mother at 917-295-6525 or her cousin Deshara at 929-421-2331. She's only 13 years old, you guys. Let's bring her home. All right, so let's see what's happening tonight. We're talking about the 5 stages of grief. And grief is something that we all go through if we're human. We all go through grief. And back in 1969, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she wrote a book called Death and Dying. And she had these 5 stages of grief that she identified, that from 1969 to now, we all can identify with grief. Whether you are Black, whether you are white, whether you are Asian, whether you are Hispanic, if you have blood running through your body, there's going to be one point in time that you're going to experience grief. And according to what she has said, the 5 stages are denial. And we're going to talk about each of these stages: anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And we're going to really get into what each stage is. And the truth of the fact is, you don't have to go through each stage according to that order. It can ebb and flow. You can go in and out. You can be angry. You can do whatever, it depends. But typically, the first stage is denial. So let's talk about denial. What is denial? Denial is a normal response to receiving news that is either shocking or surprising. And denial is also a coping mechanism when you're not ready to receive information based on reality. Denial looks and sounds like this. So say, for instance, you're with someone and you're talking, and then someone else comes up to you and be like, oh, guess what? Did you hear about Diane? She died last night. The first thing that you're going to say is, what? I can't believe it. I just saw Diane. Wait a minute. Diane and I were hanging out last week. What happened? That's denial, because the news that we receive is so shocking to our system that it's like our system, our brain is processing, wait a minute, what's happening? What? I just saw Diane. I just spoke with Diane. How can Diane be dead when I just saw her? And this, unfortunately, has happened as a result of being in this pandemic. People that we have known and that we spoke with 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, all of a sudden we get the news, this information that they are no longer physically here. That's a loss. They are no longer physically here, and you will never have the same relationship with them. So what happens? Your system processes this information as a form to protect your system initially from this awful information that has come your way. And then you have this denial. You're like, this can't be. Are you serious? Now, what is loss? Loss is the removal of something or someone that is something special to you, like a job, a spouse, a pet, something that, and I'm going to speak in layman's term. I'm not going to be overly technical tonight, because that's not who my urbanites are. I'm going to speak in layman's terms. It is losing someone that you care about. You're losing someone, and it may be a thing whereas you're losing not only that person, but you're losing a type of relationship. So say, for instance, if someone got into a car accident and they're not able to walk, and they used to be your walking buddy, or they used to be your jogging buddy, you lost that type of relationship with them, and then an adjustment and an adaptation has to take place. So that's what loss is. It's the removal of something or someone from your life. So the first one is denial. That's when you initially hear this information and you cannot believe what you heard, because you're shocked, you're surprised, you're like, I cannot believe it. Usually that happens. Even when you lose your job, if you get terminated or laid off, because there is a difference between being terminated and laid off. All right. I'm not going to go into the difference right now, but there is a difference. But it's the removal of that type of relationship that you had with the employer, the removal of a position. And that's shocking to you. It's surprising. It's like, I can't believe it. Oh my gosh. So you're in that stage and in that state for a little while, and then you transition to the next stage, which is anger. Oh my gosh, anger. Listen, I can personally attest to being angry. When my grandfather died years ago, I was so angry. Oh my God. I was angry at God. I threw my fist up at God. I was angry with cancer. I hated cancer. At that point in time, I hated God, because I thought that those two entities, God and cancer, were responsible for removing my grandfather out of my life. I became so angry. And oftentimes, so do you. You even become angry with the person that may have died, because you're like, well, it's not fair. Why did you die? Why did you do this? Especially if the person, say, for instance, committed suicide. You're like, why did you have to do this? You didn't trust me to help you through this process? That's anger. Now, there are three types of anger. Now, let me get this right. Three types of anger is late at night. So usually I know this off the top of my head, but 10 o'clock at night on Eastern Standard Time is something for me. So you have passive aggression, you have open aggression, and then you have assertive anger. So let's go down each one. Passive aggression. Passive aggression this is how passive aggression looks. You go in your room, you close the door, you cry in your pillow, and then you go to the outside world and you say, "Oh, everything is fine. Everything is great. Everything is wonderful." But in reality, it is not. It is not. You're grieving and you're angry, but you don't let the world know that you're angry. Okay. That's that one. And then open aggression. Open aggression is pretty much the opposite. You may cry. You may tell people that you're angry. You may say, "Oh my gosh, I hate cancer," which I have done because I've said in my post, "I hate cancer." Yes, I do. And then the next one is assertive anger. Assertive anger is when you openly display anger, and it's what the Bible calls, in your anger, sin not. Anger is a natural human response to receiving information that we are offended by. So if we're offended by someone's death, we become angry. And that's a normal process. Now, it depends on how you deal with that anger and what you do and how long you stay in that stage. And we're going to talk about that a little later about duration, because duration is very important. It is very important. We all can go through these stages, but if you stay in these stages too long, some red flags, and therapy may be soon coming your way if you find yourself staying in these things too long. And again, later we're going to talk about duration. Okay, so the first one is denial. And then also about denial. If you stay in denial for too long, something's not right. Do you know some people are still saying that they see Elvis in Burger King? Like, come on now. Elvis is gone. Elvis is not in Burger King. You don't want to face reality. Elvis is deceased. Elvis is gone physically. Okay. You have not seen Elvis in Burger King. No. Mm-mm. Nope, nope, nope. It's time to move on. It's a reality check tonight. All right. So the next one is bargaining. So we have denial, we have anger, and we have bargaining. I've bargained also. And this is when you negotiate with something or someone. You may negotiate with God, you may negotiate within yourself. And it looks like this: "Oh God, I promise, oh my gosh, I will never smoke another cigarette again," especially if the person died of, say, for instance, lung cancer. "I promise I would never smoke another cigarette again. Oh my gosh, I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to exercise." That's bargaining. I don't know how far that would go. I don't know what your intentions or your motivation is, but that is bargaining. Bargaining is a form also of procrastination. And it's like, you know what? You know that this has happened to this person, and you may or may not develop certain symptoms of or illnesses such as cancer or whatever, but that's what we do. We bargain. We bargain with ourselves, we may bargain with others, and we bargain oftentimes with God. That's just who we are as human. So we've gone through denial, anger, bargaining. And then when your bargaining chips, I always say, when your bargaining chips float away, because they will go flying away somewhere, the next form is depression. Depression is hard. Depression is heavy. Depression is like a brick on your back, and a stone in your heart. And sometimes you can't get out of the bed. Sometimes you don't feel like moving because reality has set in that this person, your loved one, is not here as you used to know them to be. They're gone physically. You see evidence of them being around. You may see their clothes. You may smell them based on their perfume. You may see pictures, but then you get depressed. And depressed looks like this. You don't want to eat sometimes, or you may overeat. You don't want to come out of your room. Your room is that cocoon, and you just cry all the time. I cannot imagine as a mother. Listen to what I'm saying. I cannot imagine as a mother burying my child. You talking about someone being depressed? Oh, I'm praying for Jelani Day's family. I'm praying for his mother because as parents, we're just not wired to do that. And when we get into that stage of depression, you don't know where that can take us. You don't know where that can take you. That can take you down a deep, dark path of drug use, alcohol use, just depression is it's a heavy thing. It's a heavy thing. It really is. And you got to go through it. You have to go through it. But again, it's about duration. It's about duration. And I'm going to share that after I share the last stage, which is acceptance. You have accepted that Diane has died. I don't know how long it may take for you. I don't know how long it may take for, for me, depending on the person and the situation. But now you have come to the realization that that person is no longer with you. That person is no longer engaged in the activities that you all used to engage in. That person is physically gone. And today I posted about my uncle. Actually, my uncle, he died in June, but I didn't say anything. I could not say anything. It was just too heavy for me. But you see, I'm still going through those stages because it's still raw. It's still fresh. And I'm still impacted by it. Am I in denial? Absolutely not. I know that my uncle is gone. Am I angry? Absolutely not. I'm glad to know that he's in a better place. He's no longer ill anymore. Am I bargaining? No, absolutely not. Am I depressed? No. I had a wonderful relationship with my uncle. I love my uncle. He was like a father figure to me. And I am now in acceptance. I have accepted that he has moved on. And it was very challenging and hard for me, as well as my sister, my cousins, and my aunt. They had been married for 57 years, going on 58 years. I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. So this is real for me as well. Just because I, teach people and illustrate these things, I'm not immune. I'm not immune to these stages. I'm human too. Blood runs through my body just like yours. And then after we accept, we move on. And these are the things that we can do once we accept, because there's a season for everything. Just like these stages, there's a season. There's a season for everything. There's a season for life. There's a season for death. Soon as someone comes into this world, someone is taken and removed from this world. That's just how the circle of life is. So, you have to give yourself permission to grieve. Give yourself permission to grieve. It's all right to cry. It's all right to get angry. It's all right to be in denial. It's all right to bargain. It's all right to be depressed. It's all right to accept. Give yourself permission to grieve. And then also identify a circle of support. Who is your support? Is it your family, your friends, your peers? Identify that circle of support, because let me tell you, without the proper supports, it's going to be very challenging and very difficult navigating effectively through these stages. And then you want to identify healthy twos. And these healthy twos come in the form of dancing, singing, being in a relationship. Now, when I say singing, I don't mean, singing like Diana Ross, anything like that. But I'm just talking about doing something to exert energy, okay? Physical activities, spending time in the Word of God, spending time meditating. These are things that you can do, and also celebrate the person, not only at the funeral, not only at the repast, but celebrate the person by, growing a tree, donating something, starting a fund in their name and in their honor. Celebrate them. I tell you. And then also laugh out loud. Some of the great and fun times that you had together, that you shared. These are things that we can do. And then once you do that, you can look back and say, you know what? It took me a while, but I can get through it. And I got through it. Now, moving over and transitioning from those 5 stages, I'm going to test you. What is the first stage? What's the first stage? Anybody? The first stage is denial. Denial. The second stage is anger. The third stage is bargaining. And then you have depression. And then you have acceptance. Now, in depression, let's go to the Patient Health Questionnaire 9. So in my field, we call this PHQ 9. And this is a self-assessment just to check on your mental health, okay? And it's over the last 2 weeks, 14 days. I'm going to ask you questions. And this is over the last 2 weeks. How often have you been bothered by any of the following problems? Okay. So the first one is little interest or pleasure in doing things over the last 2 weeks. Do you have little interest or pleasure in doing things? The second one, feeling down, depressed, or hopeless over the last 2 weeks. How often have you been feeling down, depressed, or hopeless? The next one, which is number 3, how often have you had trouble falling or staying asleep or sleeping too much? Remember, this is over the last 2 weeks. And then feeling tired or having little energy over the last 2 weeks. Over the last 2 weeks, how has your appetite been? Has it been poor, or have you been overeating? Next, have you been feeling bad about yourself, or that you are a failure, or have let yourself or your family down over the last 2 weeks? Do you have trouble concentrating on things such as reading the newspaper or watching television? over the last 2 weeks? Are you moving or speaking so slowly that other people could have noticed? Or the opposite, being so fidgety or restless that you have been moving around a lot more than usual? Remember, over the last 2 weeks. And then, have you had thoughts that you would be better off dead or of hurting yourself in some way over the course of 2 weeks or 14 days? This self assessment is for everybody. I call it SAFE, SAFE, self assessment for everyone. You can use this. You have to be honest with yourself and answer those questions. How are you performing within the last 2 weeks? Because basically, these are all called activities of daily living. Another thing that I would like to talk about also, which is not included in this, is sex. Have you been overly sexually active or not at all? Because that's an activity of daily living. Now, we all know you don't have sex every day, but it is part of human nature to engage in that activity. So you have to think about these things. If you want more information about what I just read from the PHQ 9, let me know. You can email me at, what is the email? urban2podcast@gmail. Yes.com. See, I forgot. See, it's 10 o'clock, you guys. Y'all have to pray for me because it's late. But if you find yourself going through those things over the course of 2 weeks, whether it's overeating or undereating, it's either very extreme or under extreme over the course of 2 weeks. It is at that time where you probably need to seek professional help. You may need to seek a counselor, a therapist at that time. Okay? So let's go over the 5 stages of grief. You have denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And then I talked about some of the things that you can do once you get into the stage of acceptance. And no one can tell you how long you can grieve for. A grieving process is sort of like your fingerprint. It's unique to every individual. How you grieve, how hard you grieve. Maybe you don't grieve at all, which is a little weird, especially if you had a loving relationship with that person. But again, let's go over a couple of things. Give yourself permission to grieve. It's all right to grieve. It's all right to cry. It's all right to be in denial, but not too long. Like I said, a lot of people are saying that they still see Elvis in Burger King. Elvis is not in Burger King, you guys. Elvis is deceased. Yes. All right. So identify a circle of support. That's what you want to do. Identify a circle of support. Who are your girls? Who are your guys that you can go to, that you can cry with, that they're not going to be gossiping about you? Like, oh, guess what? Carol came over my house just crying and snot came out her nose and all. No, that's not a circle of support. That's not a circle of support. You know who they are. You need to go to them and you need to be honest and say, you know what? I'm hurting like hell and I need you right now. Okay. You need to identify healthy tools. What are some of your healthy tools? Mine's listening to music, physical activities, spending time with the Lord, meditating, celebrating the person. And also, one of the things is in celebrating that person, you want to make that person proud. I always say when I drop my kids off, either at college or whatever, do your ancestors proud. Do your ancestors proud. And that's how you can celebrate that person, by doing them proud. And then laugh out loud. I'm telling you, laughter is good medicine for the soul. I'm telling you, listen, think of some funny, humorous things that you all did together and just soak in it, laugh in it, and just remember that person, and just know that this too shall pass. It will pass. But you know what? I think about my grandfather. I think I was in the 7th grade when he died. And oftentimes it comes in like a big tidal wave, this flood of emotions. And it happens, whether it's a memory, a song could trigger something, but it is what it is. But we all go through it. Sometimes loss can be a marriage, if we're going through a divorce, if we are widowed, the death of a pet, the death of a parent, the death of a child. So, it's really important that we understand these stages. And I know for me, when I encounter death or loss, I self-examine myself to see, what stage am I in? What stage am I in? Am I in denial? Again, denial is, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I just saw Diane last week. Oof, that's denial. Am I angry? Am I throwing my fist up at God? Am I throwing my fist up at cancer? Am I throwing my fist up at COVID? Am I throwing my fist up at the president? That happens. That's anger, because we believe that that person did not deserve it. We are offended that that happened to that person. So we go through that stage of being angry. And then the next one, we bargain. Lord, I swear I'm going to wear my mask all the time. Oh, I'm going to get vaccinated. That's bargaining. We're negotiating. We're negotiating with ourselves. We're negotiating with some higher being. We're something. And then depression. That's when you don't feel like moving. You feel like there's a huge rock on your back and this huge stone in your heart, and you cannot get out of the bed. Oftentimes, you don't feel like engaging in any type of activity whatsoever, because the reality has set in. The reality is that person is not coming back. Your life will not be the same, because that person is gone forever. And then you accept that that person has transitioned from this life to another life, and you move on. You never forget, but you move on. And we have to move on, because life goes on. It really does. So, hopefully, my urbanites, I hope you gained some information to help you. I hope you will like, share, and subscribe. Also, again, share, because I talked about, I'm going to bring her up again. I talked about Sarai Jordan missing. She's 13 years old, from Brooklyn, New York. I cannot imagine what her mother is going through. I cannot imagine what her family is going through. Her mother right now has no closure. Her mother right now probably has no idea what has happened to her daughter. So I need you to share, because we get upset when mainstream media doesn't highlight this, but in the same token, we don't share. I'm asking you to share. I don't care if you zip through this video. I don't care if you don't look at this video. I need you to share because this is very important. We have to take care of our own. We have to look after our own. And we have to be there for one another. So that is Sarai Jordan. People in Brooklyn, listen, I'm talking to my people in Brooklyn. If you've seen her, she's only 13 years old. She has not been seen since September the 28th. We're now on October the 12th. I don't know where a 13-year-old could be, but please help her come home. Again, I need you to share. I need you to like, and I need you to subscribe. And I thank you for entering into the Urban Suite. Until next time, next Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, the message for next week is, are you lazy? Because there's a lot of lazy people out there. Just like, lazy, like you can't hit that share button. I'm sorry. I just had to. Oh my gosh. So anyway, until next time, our Urbanites, have a blessed remaining week. Until next time. Also, I told you I'm going to pop in and out. I'm going to pop in and out on Instagram. And I thank you, my subscribers here on YouTube. I thank you to my Facebook followers. I thank you to my Facebook followers in Jamaica. My Jamaicans, I didn't forget about you. Remember, to my Jamaican Urbanites, if you have people that are missing, please let me know. Please send a photo with detailed information because I will post it. We have to look out for one another. And on that note, God bless and good night. Bye.